I mean, I'm not one to look too heavily into rankings. You know, there are great discussion topics for podcast episodes and this and that, but dude, do you think he was outside like the top 50?
Wasn't he outside the top 70 possibly? And it's like you guys said, criminal. That's a guy who honestly should be a top 30 player in the league.
Disrespectful.
Without a doubt.
If not higher.
Without a doubt. And, you know, it's like, how could you... How do you overlook this guy? How do you overlook this guy? He's pretty much the face of the defense. I would put him as the face of the defense.
Oh, yeah.
Even with some of the additions that they've had over the last couple of years. Darius Leonard's the face of the Colts defense. So, the maniac.
So maybe Matt could correct me on this, but you mentioned he was an All-Pro his very first year. I think he was an alternate that year because one of the favorite things that I ever heard that came out from Darius Leonard was that he was really disappointed that he didn't make the All-Pro team. I mean, it wasn't one of those things where
I think it was
like
Pro Bowl.
Was it the Pro Bowl?
Pro Bowl.
Okay.
He's the first team All-Pro.
Okay, he was first team All-Pro, but
yeah.
didn't make the Pro Bowl, right?
Correct.
So, but he came out with a statement, and it wasn't like he was one of those guys that was a prima donna that came out, I should have been there, this and that. He just legitimately wanted to be there, right? Because that's his goal in life,
Yeah.
to do that. And he just seemed like a great guy in the interview that I watched, and he seems awesome.
He takes everything, like, he eats it like a Tic Tac. Like, he uses it as momentum. You know, a lot of people should, like, I highly recommend anybody who goes through life and they keep getting, like, punched in the mouth and disrespected that way, use that shit as ammunition.
Yeah.
And Darius Leonard exemplifies that perfectly to me. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, he dropped to the second round of the draft in real life because he didn't test well. But like he's a gamer. Where in South Carolina, he was a gamer.
Yeah.
South Carolina State, excuse me.
The combine is such bullshit.
Exactly.
I love looking at the stats of it, but it's my favorite because I'll see somebody test not well and go, oh, that's a nice pickup in the third round who'll be a great starter for years to come.
Exactly.
Oh no, he didn't bench well. He gives a shit.
yeah, peg him down to the 7th round.
Combine warriors, man.
Yeah, a lot of those guys that didn't perform well in the combine came out and just were some of the GOATs, right?
Yeah.
Tom Brady,
Yeah,
Jerry Rice,
perfect
none of those
example.
guys tested well.
Bolden.
Yep,
Yeah,
none of those
come
guys
out and
tested
just
well.
balled out.
I hate saying it because of what his career became, but look at somebody like Vontae's perfect. As much of a dirty bastard as he is, that's a guy who had the game tape. He was phenomenal in college, and he fell completely out of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I was pounding the table for the Bills that year.
I was too for Baltimore.
Go get him.
Yes, sir.
He had a hell of a career before he started murdering people.
Y'all remember Vernon Ghostin? Like the dude that just blew up the combine that one year.
And went like 9th overall and
didn't
didn't do a
didn't
damn
do
thing.
shit. Yeah, combine warriors, man. Got to be leery.
I think the Bills had a couple guys like that, or like most of their 2000s, but
No,
Aaron-
I talked
Aaron
to
Maben,
this guy. His name is his name's Bert. He's actually an NFL combine trainer down in Florida. He worked with Gabriel
Gabe
Davis
Davis
and Zach Moss and all these guys. He said a lot of reasons for that is that guys just like to play it safe. Like GMs and stuff, they just like to play it safe. They don't like to reach it. They always look at that combine number and they're just like, oh, he's good. Take him in. And they don't really. In a lot of these GMs, they don't really look at game film and stuff. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's
and that's how you get Aaron Maben on your team.
And Eric Flowers going back before that. So,
Oh boy. All right, man. Rueter,
yes, sir.
who you taking in the second round, my dude?
Second round, I have decided that I'm going to keep building my defense.
Okay.
I love it.
After this young man fell to me, I thought for sure that when Matt was talking, until he said Homer, I thought he might be going in this direction. So I mentioned with Aaron Donald, all the superlatives there, that this is a guy that you have to double cover. So my theory for building my team is I'm going to keep adding guys that you have to double cover until you run out of guys, right? That's my move. So I'm going with Khalil Mack, the edge rusher from the Chicago Bears. Also a homer, by the way, because I watched him play at UB.
okay.
And my God, my favorite game, one of my favorite college football games to watch of all time is when UB ran into Ohio State. And at the half, Khalil Mack by himself had UB Bulls in the game against Ohio State, which was incredible. He looked like the best player on the field then, just all over the field.
He had a quiet 2019 season, but like it was kind of quiet.
Can we blame him or that
No,
trade
no,
back to the
it's-
Chicago team?
Yeah,
I'm with you on
that
that,
Chicago
Kyle.
defense was just. Oh, it was on the field a lot. That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, it was. I wasn't like scared of Chicago's defense last year, and Khalil Mack had a very quiet 2019 season.
we want Khalil Mack to punch people in the face, and not be running marathons.
And,
Right.
and the thing with Khalil Mack is that, again, he's a guy that demands that you put two guys in his direction. I mean, the thing is, for me, he doesn't always produce numbers like you might think. Same thing with a guy like Aaron Donald, right? The numbers may not be there, but his impact on the field when you're watching the game, it's incredibly relevant. He's blowing up plays, even if he's not, getting to the quarterback. He's making the quarterback throw early, right? I mean, and loading up my team with guys like that is the way I'm going so far.
I don't like the way that you're drafting right now because you just literally like took the two most unstoppable defensive players in the league. Like that's
See what I do?
That's fucking stupid.
See what I do?
Like, and then he like.
This guy over here, his team's like first Super Bowl victory was all defense. He's getting mad at somebody for drafting good defense.
Yeah, like come on. Like, god damn, man. Good job, Ed. Good
Thanks,
job.
buddy.
I got you.
You're a hell of a
I got you.
GM. Kyle, you are on the clock again, my sir.
I am giddy. You guys dropped my plans directly into my hands here.
Okay.
I'm going to give Patrick Mahomes a weapon.
Okay.
In a 26-year-old best receiver in the league. Give me as much as... It's funny, he brought up prima donnas and people call him that. Give me Michael Thomas.
Okay.
Michael Thomas. Okay. I'm all ears.
Michael Thomas is a guy who I've watched continually grow his stats year after year. He's got an aging Drew Brees, and he's never had a number 2 receiver really against him. Truthfully, I think Michael Thomas is going to continue to grow and break records this year, given that he's not facing the double coverage constantly. Emmanuel Sanders is still a better option than Deontay Harris, no matter how old Emmanuel Sanders is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to take what was the number 1 wide receiver in the league last year and pair him with who could be the number 1 quarterback in the league. Sounds like shades of Moss and Brady in 07.
That could be a very scary tandem, especially you got Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball to him, and the man doesn't drop anything. Like crazy good hands. I'm not the biggest Michael Thomas guy myself, but at the same time, like you look at his numbers, they don't lie.
Correct.
Like the man puts up stats. He's going to give you numbers, and you got a quarterback like Pat Mahomes throwing to you.
The only fight anybody ever gives me with that, we'll look at the numbers. Well, he's a possession receiver.
I've heard the possession receiver thing, but I think a lot of these players that we talk about, they get kind of pigeonholed into what the offense gives them.
Correct.
So you can't blame the Michael Thomas volume on Michael Thomas, right? There's a ton of other weapons on that team. You got guys like Alvin Kamara that's there, and Drew Brees at that point in his career, what's he kind of looking like? He looks to me like kind of a check down quarterback.
Correct.
At this point.
He's not looking to throw the ball that far.
So the fact that when you have a check down quarterback, and even if we were to call him a possession receiver, right, who's just going to catch a ton of little passes over the middle, well, he broke the NFL record for receiving, right, for catches.
He also caught 5 games worth out of Teddy Bridgewater, who was not set up to pass in that offense.
I can't knock the pick, man.
Offensive player of the year last year as well, man. Definitely can't knock it. And then you back up in the clock again.
I am, and I'm going to... This is where I'm going to bring in a little bit of my own homerness here.
Okay.
I'm going to the other side of the field.
Okay.
I'm going to take Tre'Davious White.
Excellent.
Quite possibly, if not the best, a top 2 cornerback in the league. A guy who, kind of to piggyback off what Matt was saying with Darius Leonard, doesn't complain about the shit. He listens to a lot of it. He's going to go about his business, and he's going to take the disrespect and prove it on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He's been just disrespected by so many people in the NFL. You're not better than this guy. That's great. You can say that about Stephon Gilmore, but Stephon Gilmore gave up a touchdown last year. Did Trey White? No. A guy who's going to get paid sooner than later, but I think he's the premier corner in the league right now, and I would gladly take him as my building piece of defense.
Can't argue against that, man. The dude is like when you look up the definition of shutdown corner, like it's him. like that's what it is. Like that's what he does. He takes people out of the game. And you throw it to his, like, he got great ball skills too. And the man has 6 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
Not to mention, not too many people throwing his way.
No.
So you throwing his way, it's either going to be an incompletion or interception. Like,
correct.
Goddamn.
and somewhere, Bills fans listening to this right now are having an absolute conniption because I not only took Patrick Mahomes, but the player that the Bills traded out of the spot for as well, Trey White. And Bills fans don't know how to feel.
You have brought that draft full circle now.
Oh, I have. Unintentionally.
And shout out to Trey White real quick, too, because if no one follows him on social media, you should be, because he's also absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, he's a great personality.
He's the greatest goalie in the NHL.
That is correct. He's the Tre'Davious White Goalie Academy
out of Louisiana.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
Outstanding stuff on social media if you haven't seen it.
Did you see he got
did
drafted?
That for one of his intros. He did that for one of his primetime football intros too, I think.
He did, but he also got drafted by a junior hockey team this year.
Really?
That's awesome.
They did their draft and they took their last pick of the draft of Tre'Davious White, goaltender, Louisiana.
And one final note on that pick, because it's one of my favorite moments in recent Bills history. only he could frustrate a guy like Rob Gronkowski so much that he drops that Macho Man elbow drop on him.
He did do that.
I've never in my life contemplated coming out of the stands in a game, and I was infuriated.
When I saw
that,
I thought that was just brutally ugly and terrible.
And Gronk was like twice the size of him. I mean, practically in stature. He's a lot taller than him, and Trey White was all over him, man. Excellent pick, dude. Excellent pick.
Johnson.
Ed.
No, it's Ed.
Rueter.
It's Ed.
My fault.
Yes, sir. That's okay.
My fault.
So far, I've been highly lauded here for my amazing picks by just about everyone in the room, I think. So far, I think my team's in the lead, if I had to guess.
If you feel that way, go ahead. I respect it.
That's where I'm at. That's just where I feel right now. So I still think that games are won with defense. I'm going to switch to the other side of the ball real quick.
Okay.
I was thrown into heart palpitations earlier when you selected Lonnie Stanley, which was a great pick. But when you said one of the best offensive linemen in the league, my heart jumped into my throat because I thought you were taking my guy here.
Okay.
I thought I could get him here. He might not make it back around. So I'm going Quentin Nelson from Matt Johnson's Colts.
Very good.
Don't flip tables.
No, I'm not. I actually like that pick. I like it a lot.
Because I think that he sets the tone on the offensive line. He is a monster in the interior. I'm going to build on run and defense is what I'm going to do here. So I need that great interior offensive lineman. He can pull with some of the most athleticism that I've seen at the guard position in years.
Oh, yeah.
And he probably leads the league in pancakes, if I'm not mistaken. Both eaten and on the football field would be my guess. So,
he's a scary dude. That's a great pick, man. I couldn't agree more. It's Quentin Nelson's special. Not often you get like not all the time does an offensive lineman kind of come through and he's like an enigma in his own. Like, there's been a lot, but the first one that always comes to my mind is Anthony Munoz from
the Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals, Hall of
Absolutely.
Famer. And he was an enigma, and people knew who he was. Again, offensive linemen don't get a whole lot of love. Don't get a whole lot of recognition.
Usually, if you're an enigma on the offensive line, it's because of bad things. Shout out Richie Incognito.
Yeah, that's a good point. I couldn't agree. That's an excellent pick, Ed.
To your point, Matt, when you talk about players getting recognition in a game on the offensive line, and Kyle, kind of to Kyle's point too, when you're talking about it, what do you hear when you hear from an offensive lineman? Oh, a penalty. You hear their name when their name is called for penalties, right? So not only are penalties incredibly low on Quentin Nelson, but you're hearing his name for just blowing people up on the offensive line and the protection that he provides. I love watching the Colts run their rollout plays, either to the right or left, with him pulling. They're like magic out there. So it's pretty cool to watch. So he's joining the roster here.
The dude has been in the league for 2 years. His rookie year, All Pro, Pro Bowler. Second year, All Pro, Pro Bowler. I've never seen an offensive lineman come in
with such an impact
and just make the whole team better.
Correct.
Like the coach just became like a better team when he was inserted onto the offensive line.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris Ballard. I say this all the time on the 2 point. I say it to Matt all the time. The best GM in the league.
I was going to say, I'll go out on a limb here and say he's the best GM in the league.
He is, and that's the guy who watches Brandon Beane put a team together and is very proud of what the Bills have done. I still don't think he holds a candle to what Chris Ballard's done.
Especially with all the bullshit he's had to deal with over the last couple of years, too.
Which is really not fair if you think about it for the rest of the league. They had prior to that, if I'm not mistaken, it was Bill Polian, right?
No, Ryan Grigson.
He
before
was
that, terrible.
But Bill Polian before
Grigson
that
was
Terrible.
Was it? Yeah, it was Polian.
Yeah,
they let him go
before
after Manning. They got rid of Manning, and I think Grigson came in and just ruined Andrew Luck's career.
Destroyed things.
Yeah.
So you had him in there in the meantime, but going from at one point or another from Polian to this, I mean, that's two dynasty building type of GMs in there. I mean, that's awesome, man. That's,
I wish we
the
do
Colts.
more with it. I wish we would do more with it. That's like, I always compare the Colts to Green Bay. They get a lot of generational people, quarterbacks, players. We don't have the chips behind it. I mean, Green Bay obviously has a few more than Indianapolis does, but it's like
I'll say
I
this:
have a little more results.
Props to Indy though for rolling out. What was it? 3 weeks before the season, your franchise all-pro quarterback backs out on you at the last second, and to put together a season like they did, that were competitive.
Started off hot, but
I feel like that would bury most franchises.
For sure. He just kept pressing on and this and that. Colts have a lot of injury issues. That's been a big problem with theirs. I'm not sure what it is with there's the training staff or what, but a lot of injury issues. But I mean, it's always been. They've been persistent. They just don't really throw in the towel.
Love the coaching with Frank Reich. That's probably a great testament to why. I mean, it's one of the greatest comeback guy stories in college and pro history. So that if there's anybody to lead a team that when the chips are down, he's the guy. So
for sure,
pretty cool.
For sure, I'm very happy to have him.
You're on the clock, man.
All right, I'm on the clock. I'm going to go quarterback here. All right, I'm going to go quarterback. young guy. His coach is kind of a dum-dum.
Exactly what I thought.
I'm going to go Deshaun Watson here. All right, I'm going to go Deshaun Watson. The man has done